I first came out to Montana actually in 1993, and on that trip I actually discovered an industrial garnet deposit. I was very interested in this locality because of the morphology, the shapes of the stones, which are very, very rounded, and the prevailing wisdom at the time was that these stones were stream rounded. Well, do you see any stream up here? There's no stream. We are on top of the hill here. We're not down in a drainage. You do not need to have a drainage to have sapphires here. And I've talked about this again and again. We're on a debris flow here. We're on an old mud flow. These are all coalescing. Basically, you've taken maybe 3,000 feet of the top of the mountain and just gradually deflated it over time through weathering and erosion. And it ends up sloughing down the sides, and here it is. So it's a mixture of rock and mud, and this is what we're extracting. Right here we have our screening plant. This is a very high capacity double-deck screen plant, and we're producing 3 products here. The coarse product you see right below this conveyor, there's chunks of clay in there and some large rocks. That's all waste. The stuff on the left-hand side, this pile over here, is minus 1/8 of an inch. At some point we will process that, and we suspect that it'll have a little bit of gold in it and some finer sapphires. So we're talking about sapphires that are smaller than 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is more or less traditionally what people have extracted here in Montana and cut. This is where the bread and butter is right here, and this is the sort of stuff that we're hauling over to Eureka right now and washing. So that is between 1 inch and 1/8 of an inch material. It's averaging between 40 and 50 carats per cubic yard right here. So when we take the rocks out and we take the fines out, we shrink the volume down considerably, and that enables us to truck it all the way around the other side of the mountain to Eureka Gulch and wash it there. Our ultimate goal here is to become the largest colored stone producer in the Americas, and then I think we'll be able to actually take a big chunk out of world sapphire production.
My name is Warren Boyd, and I'm the Director of Marketing for Potentate Mining. I have a history of working on colored gemstone mining operations around the world, as well as diamond mining operations in Canada. Our marketing plan for Potentate is primarily to be in the business of selling our rough production. Potentate anticipates over the next few years to be producing a substantial amount of rough sapphire in all size ranges, from as small as 2 millimeter up to stones up to 1 inch in diameter. So far in our test pitting and test mining, we've recovered stones up to about 30 carats. Between 13 to 15% of the production comes with a nice natural color. Pinks, yellows, blues, blue-greens. And then the balance of the material comes with slightly greenish, slightly brownish. Those stones heat treat very well. We provide complete supply chain guarantees and assurances of whether the stones are heated or not heated. We would not like to see any of our clients being involved in some of the less market acceptable means of enhancement of the sapphires. Of course, it's always easy to sell fine, large stones. That's never a problem. So as miners, our objective is to simply sell our run-of-mine productions to a select group of clients.
This is Sapphire Gulch, which was one of the 2 most important gulches in this area for sapphire mining. The other one being Anaconda Gulch, which is further off to the west from here. So this was mined around 1903, 1904, and it was hydraulicked, almost from the top all the way to the bottom where it intersects with Rock Creek. You can see it's U-shaped, and that's because they were using high pressure jets of water and just sending everything down the grade and then channeling it to wooden sluice boxes where they would do the recovery. The cows are actually standing right on the break-in slope, which you can see, kind of that brownish line where the grass stops, and that's as far up as the old-timers hydraulicked. So they were constrained by water flow. They needed a head of water, and that head of water was maintained from a flume a little bit higher up, but that water had to come down the slope and build a head, a hydraulic head, so that you had enough pressure to do the hydraulicking. And this is about as far as they could go. Remember, they didn't have any pumps, so this was all done through gravity feed. This is Queen Gulch, which is a side gulch off of the main Sapphire Gulch. This would have been worked in the 1920s or so. I'm not sure exactly when. It was hydraulicked, and when the hydraulicking was done, they would have basically a chain gang of men stacking the rocks either side of the drainage. It's not a very effective way to work because you have to put the rocks somewhere, and when we start to dig down through these rock piles, we find virgin ground underneath it. Never ever been sampled, never been mined. You can just imagine how much physical labor it takes to do this. And you have to have a lot of sapphires making you a lot of money for it to be worthwhile to do this.